Okay, hello again. This time we're doing the February kind of recap of my Go playing and improvement journey so far. I just publicly, released the one I made at the end of January, kind of detailing like the first kind of 2 months since I started back playing again. So this, I would say, kind of marks the the clear end of like my first 6 months playing Go in total. But it's kind of weird because like the first 3 months were 7 years ago, and then it's been the most recent 3 months. So there was some kind of regression and then building back up that I'd forgotten, a decent portion of what I knew back then, and definitely a lot of my reading skill and Sumego stuff like that I had to rebuild back up. So at the end of January, we ended it with me being 5Q on Fox, and I don't know that I gave an estimate of what my OGS rank would be. I would guess right now my OGS. I think if I ended 5Q on Fox last month, I would guess the OGS rank around then should have been like 6, maybe 7Q. But I had not played yet enough games, and so if I go back to, you can see I've started playing a bunch more on OGS. At the time, I can open up a game here. I think I was down to around like 9 or 10Q. Um, anyway, so yeah, new update is I've made it up to over the past month. A couple things I wanted to note. One was back in December, I had rewatched through. This is mostly over the holidays. All of the AlphaGo Zero Redmond reviews that I forgot to mention that. But okay, starting from the month of end of January, month of February, what all have I done? I rewatched all of Hikaru no Go, um, just as kind of like a for fun thing. Um, to regain my interest in Go and kind of get more of like the cultural kind of like um, pop culture like references and things like that back in my brain a little bit, and that was just kind of a for fun thing to do. Um, I've started watching a lot of the Benkyo Buduk. I have watched most of his YouTube stuff, but what I'm able to do is go to his Twitch page and into his past broadcasts, or in his, I think they're actually his highlights. Um, he does a lot of reviews of his Benkyo League, people that are playing in his league, and teaching games and Patreon classes and lectures and things like that that are there. Important to note is that these are most likely going to be deleted because of the 100-hour um, highlights cap that's being implemented on Twitch, and I think that goes into effect in April sometime. So I kind of have March and maybe 1 or 2 weeks in April or something to watch through as many of those as I can. So that's kind of my newest priority, is because those will be disappearing, to watch as many of those as I can because they're kind of a free resource. And I can look at other people's games that are anywhere from 8Q plus kind of at this point and find similar teachings that they're making similar mistakes that I would be making, and so I can learn from their mistakes. So that's been super helpful. Over the course of February, I ranked up to 4Q on Fox. So let's just go through that game real quick here. I am white, and we can see I play my normal opening of double 4/4 as white. He does the Sunrensei. I just approach and then play Joseki in this corner. He invades my top right corner, and I block to face my other stone. And then at the time, I definitely didn't know this as well, and I still don't know this as very well. I think in hindsight, I would normally want to Tanuki here and play something else, but in this case, I just played this. I don't actually really like this result for white, but it's okay. Anyway, I end up approaching the bottom left corner instead, and he kicks, and then he approaches my top left corner, and I pincer and block to separate his stone and start building a Moyo on the top. So I do that, and then I decide that I should sort of just make a base and kind of an extension from this group, just because I wasn't really sure how to handle this like knight's move at the end of the 3/3 invasion kind of thing from the pincer afterwards. Now I am more familiar with that it's this other knight's move kind of thing is the most common, but anyway, he tries to move out with his stone, so I lean on the left group a little bit and just sort of solidify my wall there. He's crawling on the third line and a little bit on the second line, so it was kind of pressing him down. And then I try to Hane on the outside, thinking that he would cut and try and connect back to this group or something and just be on the second line, and I thought I could build solidify my Moyo in the center more strongly, but instead he just connected on the inside, so I just was able to connect on the outside, and now I have a very solid wall. And then so he tries to lean and move out with his other stone here, and I just am fine kind of taking the territory at this point, and then I come back around to get this Hane on his corner. I was mostly just kind of playing it as endgame at this point, but then instead of connecting here, he played this first line descent, which I know is generally a bad move, and I played this. Now, I didn't quite read this out entirely when I played this, but it just looked like it was obviously sort of like immediately working to me in that I could do something. I guess it would be this, huh? And if he cuts, then this is kind of an awkward situation for him, because now this eye is false in the corner and things like that. So yeah, I think I had read like basically up to about there that he couldn't really cut and play here, obviously, because I just captured those 3 stones immediately. So that was what I had read when I played this move, just kind of seeing how he would respond. Now, I was thinking that he would respond in the corner and that I could potentially kill this bottom group. I remember this at the time, but instead he played here. But then I was looking at it and I'm like, I'm not sure that does save the bottom group after he played this move. So I tried to play this move and see how he would respond, but then he played here. And then I could read, because one of my weaknesses before was I was terrible at seeing sort of snapback type shapes. And to me, this is sort of similar to a snapback type shape, where I could play here and then kind of falsify it in that way. I guess it wouldn't be because of this co-shape, but anyway. So then he plays here. I definitely didn't read this out entirely correctly originally, because right after he plays a move back here, I think this corner is already dead and already good for me to play up here. But this was a sequence that effectively kills and helps me, right? So then he jumps out here, and now this group doesn't have a base, and it kind of maybe doesn't have 2 eyes, so I decide to attack it because his top left corner group is dead at this point, and you can see now I have gained a sizable lead in this game of 14, 15 points or so. He tries to lean on this left group, except I read out that this cut is not threatening at all. So I just jump out with my group, he peeps, and we continue jumping. And I also read that this cut doesn't work because I can play here and kind of cut it off this way, and these 2 connection points are essentially Miai. Then he Hanes over here and double Hanes, and I cut on the inside, which turns out to not be like that great of a move, but it kind of works out. It's fine. It just leaves him with sort of awkward shape. So anyway, at this point, I think I was leading on points, so I just kind of wanted to make sure that he couldn't build anything too large, and I decided to lean on this right side group, especially because he misplayed it in the other corner, and sort of see what I could get away with over here. He goes to attack the corner group, but I have Miai to always capture this other stone and just make myself alive in the corner, which is fine. And he peeps and plays some stuff over here, but I read that I can cut and just sort of separate those stones and swallow them. And then he jumps out with this group again, and I jump out over here, and I jump out over here. I wasn't sure if I could connect here as a double knights move. It looked a little thin to me. So I was hoping that if I played this move down here, that he would respond either here to still connect his main group, or down here defending the territory, and then I could play the secondary move to connect more solidly, which ended up being exactly what happened. And then he still came back to connect this other side, which was great. And so I think I've effectively now, I've been reading this move for white for a while, and I can read that I can essentially Miai cut off at least these 3 stones, and so this internal space is kind of my territory now, right? So then I just go to make sure that he can't really build a bunch of points here as a Moyo thing, so I just start poking into it, poking, and then he finally responds to the top right corner, playing some endgame, and then I decide this is a good time, because I wasn't really sure what other endgame to play here. Obviously this 3-3 has been available and a decently sized move for a while, and this move I was also reading, but we'll see, I get back to that in a little while. Anyway, I decide this is a good time to play this move to just show him that, like, hey, by the way, these stones are dead and you can't actually cut them off. So he chose to actually end up not reading it out properly, and so I can just immediately cut and actually end up swallowing these additional 4 stones in addition to these other first 3. So then he tries to push in and attack these 3 stones, and I definitely made a mistake here, and I should have treated this more dangerously than I did, because that cut is available to him, but instead he just starts playing some endgame stuff. I try and play some endgame to try and threaten this other group, but he can actually live, but he does live in Gote, so it is kind of still Sente for me. And then I get to come back to the top and descend, and then he plays this move, which I didn't consider threatening for the top right now. And I was worried now that because I have especially this double peep, and I'd been looking at some of the Gokyo Shumyo like double wedge sequence stuff, is that this started to look potentially a little bit dangerous for me. So I just wanted to take one move to come back and kind of securely say, like, no, that's dead, and I can always connect up on either side or something to make sure that nothing bad can happen here, right? Like, I've essentially already secured probably one eye down here, and then, I can get some other way to connect, hopefully by either capturing up here or doing whatever. Anyway, so he comes back and I continue poking into his Moyo space area down here. I read that I can cut this and just immediately cut it off. And so he plays this out to try and connect it back, and I end up eating the 2 stones. He captures there, and then I continue playing some endgame. I get back to playing this endgame. Next, and then I actually play another move inside just to be safe again, making sure that it's dead, because I thought I was solidly ahead winning at this point. And I read that he couldn't really do anything with these wedges and stuff. I was staring a long time of like, he is kind of thin in here also and has some cutting points, and maybe I can use that to my advantage. I had this potential squeeze move here on these 4 stones. I was looking for a while at what I could do in here, and so I couldn't really read it out properly and find the exact right sequence, but we ended up just kind of playing out this sort of thing, and it worked out. And then I played this move as my final sort of piece of endgame, retiring this stone, thinking that he's just going to connect. But instead he played here, which is a threat, so I connect up there. But then he tries to go in one more further, and then if I just capture this stone, now these 4 stones are also dead. And so at that point, the game was over and my opponent resigned. So this was the game to rank up to 4Q on Fox. So again, as I mentioned, I then started playing on OGS again after I ranked up to 4Q on Fox, because my OGS rank was around 10Q at that point, and it seemed like it was potentially easier to get sort of reviews, and it was more of a English community on OGS and things like that. And so I just decided to start playing on OGS. And I treated it as Fox was kind of my main server, and I still consider this to be true. Fox is kind of my main server in terms of like my strength and where my skill level is like best represented. That's where I've played the most games so far. And OGS is kind of like my space to kind of be more experimental and mess around and kind of try new things, try new Joseki, try playing in a bit more maybe unsafe ways that are less sort of textbook or whatever, just kind of trying out stuff, improve my fighting, that type of thing, while being less concerned about my actual rank. Couple other things. I started watching Shy Ghost on YouTube. He's a good teacher. He's had a couple good videos. I wish he would make more videos, but I'm still gonna watch through some of his back catalog. Simple Buduk is another one. I started the Sumego Hero website, and I've gone through at least, I think, around 500 problems on that site so far. I found the old playlist of Andrew Jackson's single-digit Q classes that I'm eventually going to work my way through. They feel like a little bit high a level for me right now, which is weird because I am single-digit Q, but they feel like they're almost bordering on down-level players and stuff. I think that's just kind of a nature of this. The skill level ranks, I feel like, have shifted a bit over the years, and so what used to be 5Q is now probably closer to 1 Dan, and what is 5Q now is probably used to be closer to like 8 to 10Q or something. Anyway, that's my feeling on it. Anyway, let's move back on and continue. And also towards the end of the month of February, I ranked up to 3Q on Fox. So this is another game. I am also white in this game. And we can go through this. 1 second, I will pause.